Hi, hello, and welcome to today's run-through of Fear and Hunger 1. Today, we'll be doing what I'm calling a Monsters vs. God run, where I will be going for ending A against the God of Fear and Hunger with what I'm calling the Monster Squad. So I won't be recruiting any of the other three main characters, and the only party members I'll have will be the little girl, Moonless at one point, and the skeletons. To elaborate on the monster theme, I will also be performing a marriage, and as you can see on screen, I have given myself the Gaunt armor set along with a Claymore. The idea I'm going for here is a marriage in a large, very powerful armor set with the biggest sword I can find, and have that be what's going up against the birth of a new god. So basically a big monster in an armor set with a huge sword, kind of like the mountain at the very end of Game of Thrones. Why did I choose this theme for this run? Because I thought it'd be fun and I wanted to go in with a very powerful character to take revenge on the dungeon for all the times that I have died in it. And also because I recently rewatched Kong vs. Godzilla, so the tagline of what's a king to a god kind of gave me the idea. Alright, so starting off, we can see that having the Claymore at the very start allows me to one-shot doors, functionally replacing the lockpicking skill. Since I'm so overpowered, I will be fighting the Iron Shakespear, the Salmonsnake, and the Cavemother. Also the Black Witch. So the first few things I will be doing in the dungeon is recruiting Moonless to help me out during the first parts of the run, recruit Cahara, perform a marriage, summon 2 skeletons, kill all the mini-bosses, and then I'll grab the Cube of the Depths and head to Mahabre. And then finally the Gauntlet. A few more notes. Why Darce? Because I really like having her fast attack. And I did also give myself the Devour ability from Rag. Or Rag Daddy, as some will call him. Why the Devour ability? Well, if I'm going to be a big armored monster, I might as well throw in eating our enemies into the mix. So I wait to start the encounter with the Black Witch, cause for once I can actually take her, him, it. I have a big sword and I'm gonna hit the witch with it. Darce does her best guts impression and cleaves the Black Witch in 2 in a single swipe. Let's fast forward this part, since I'm just gonna be looting the rest of the floor. Since we're here, let's see how this build holds up against the Iron Shakespear. I'll be focusing all damage on the torso in hopes of taking him down before he can do too much damage to me. Doing more than 400 damage points a turn, it should only take about 2 hits, assuming they don't miss. Landing another 400 points of damage on the torso takes him out. We encounter some guards in the prison level. Let's see how they do with the Claymore. 500 damage points is more than enough to destroy his arm, guarding the second turn to prevent the coin flip attack, and then attacking the torso. Moving on to activating the lever so we can use the elevator down to the caverns. I'll have to sneak by this elite guard, and he saw me. I tried dropping a bear trap, but it doesn't activate. So let's see how this armor and the Claymore does against the elite guard. First, let's destroy his arm so he can't dismember. And next, the Morning Star. Even without his arms, he can still attack using the tackle ability and his stinger. Stinger thrust. After losing a good bit of HP, we are able to put the elite guard down. Activate the lever. I fight the other guard on this level. Fortunately, the oversized sword makes quick work of him. Time to go rescue Cahara. Since we are going against the god of fear and hunger, I need to get the peculiar doll, which will make her fight a little bit easier. We leave with Cahara, and Cahara does what Cahara does. And next, we head down to the caverns to recruit Moonless and Cahara again. We feed Moonless the 2 pieces of rotten meat to get her to de-aggro. And we continue on to recruit Cahara, since we'll be needing him for the marriage ritual. In the caverns, we'll encounter the first yellow mage, but since I don't need the Eclipse Talisman, I just take him out as fast as I can. Before the Cave Dweller village, we run into the second yellow mage and do the same. There is a more direct route to Cahara if you have an explosive vial, but I don't have one, so I will be finding my way to him through the Cave Dweller village and the Wolf Mask ritual. Then we find Cahara pretending like he didn't steal from us just a minute ago. Okay, let's loot the rest of the floor, and here we encounter a crossbow guard. Fighting him is very similar to the other guards. Take out his weapon and then focus damage on the torso. Use a soul stone because we will always need them, especially for cursed weapons which do more damage and can hit ghosts. Take that, you door. In this next part, we just need to run past the ghost to reach the catacombs. We evade the Night Lurker and break down this door to get access to the Catacombs ritual circle to perform the marriage and become the monster that we need to be to take down a god. Well, you don't need to, but I'm going to claim that in order to maintain narrative consistency with the theme of this video. Nothing like a terrifying presence to set the mood. Cahara and Darce do their thing as Cahara brags about how good he is at this type of stuff. Bow chicka bow wow. And for no particular reason, I am going to call this marriage pretty, with alternating caps. Okay, so now I am a heavily armored monster, so let's go recruit the skeletons and rescue the little girl. But first, I need to get past the crow Mauler, so I just lead him up here to try to just run around him. Haha, I tricked you, you son of a bitch. I'm stealing this from a comment on one of my videos. Imagine going crazy so bad you become a bird. Returning up to the upper levels, we meet the always useless Buckman. kill the Dark Priest to get more soul stones. With Moonless and the Claymore, they shouldn't present very much of a threat at all. Since I have an extra empty scroll, to make my life easier, I'm just going to teach myself necromancy instead of having to increase my affinity with Gorgoroth and then get another soul stone. Using an empty scroll is just a lot easier, since I have one. I sacrificed the person on the crucifix to increase my affinity with Ulmer, which will help me get the blood portal spell. I find the little girl and give her some armor, because little did I know how many hits she'd be taking over the course of this journey. I think there's something programmed into the game where she'll more often than not be the target of attacks. It just seems like she's targeted more often. So she often ends up functioning kind of like a bullet sponge. In this library, I find a mock-up book, which I need to get access to the backyard. I find myself in a little bit of a pickle because this area is kind of narrow, making it harder to try to sneak by anybody. But since I am a little overpowered, I decide to try my luck and fight the Crow Mauler. Fortunately, my helmet protects my eyes, so I don't go blind. I use the throwing darts to inflict a poison status effect, since the damage they do adds up very quickly over a few turns. And I have the girl block to just reduce any damage incoming to her. So the poison is doing 500 damage points a turn. And again, having the Gaunt helmet protects my eyes from the flock of crows. The poison darts add another 500 damage to the Crow Mauler. So I keep focusing damage on the torso. And with a little bit of luck, the Crow Mauler goes down. I do not have to worry about dodging him anymore on this playthrough. After that, we move on to the backyard using the mock-up book. As usual, we encounter Ragback here. And just past him, we find the second item that we need to give the little girl, the dagger. It's really sad to think that this weapon is one of the nicest gifts she's ever gotten. Kinda tells you how rough she's always had it. That a random knife you find on the ground brings her joy and makes her feel like you gave her a great gift. Praying to Ulmer at the statue increases my affinity, unlocking the blood portal spell. Since we're in the area, we stop by and say hi to the friendly neighborhood mask orgy, and we stop to hang out with them for a while, because doesn't everybody want to see a marriage abomination at an orgy? Now with full health and a little bit more affinity for Sylvian, we continue on our journey. I save game and go to sleep next to the Crow Mauler just to mock him. And so, we are now ready to expand the monster squad with our first skeleton. And now we have one meaty boy in our squad. Time to equip him with weapons and armor. using the Purifying Talisman, I unlock the door to the Hexen table. Here, I'll be getting the Blood Portal spell that allows for fast travel, and also be unlocking the first healing spell. So I start setting up the blood portals to make my life a little bit easier later on. Now here's the sad part. To get the second skeleton to finish out my monster squad, I'm gonna have to sacrifice Moonless to create space in my party. Sleep tight, sweet prince. I can always use more armor to up the defenses on my skeletons, and besides, I like the idea of a skeleton wearing an iron mask, so I'm gonna go ahead and fight Isayah here for his gear. Since the Claymore does so much damage, I'm gonna use the same tactic of trying to focus all damage and DPS on his torso. Fortunately, he doesn't attack his first turn. And down he goes. With that done, I'm gonna head to the Thicket to recruit the second skeleton. First, I have to use the explosive vial here to get access, and then fight my way past the dogs, or get lucky and just be able to run past them. The Thicket, I have to deal with the mumblers that are a bit annoying, but there's a lot of good loot here. With the Mumbler, I'm going to continue with the tried and true tactic of focusing on the torso while hoping the Mumbler doesn't get a chance to cast Soulbind. Since I will be going to the Gauntlet, I need access through the God of the Depths, so we cut open the purple organ bag here. Using necromancy, I'm going to resurrect this skeleton and complete out my monster squad. Since I found this guy in the Thicket, I'm going to call him Sweaty, with 2 eyes. Next, I equip Sweaty with the best gear and armor that I still have. And now my heavy armor monster squad is good to go. Slice and dice. For some extra damage, I go back to the Mauler to get a Mauler soul, which gives a plus 30% damage when equipped. I head to the Caverns to grab another soul stone and to fight the Cavemother. Fortunately, with the Claymore and the skeletons, she doesn't pose too much of a threat. Then we fight her in her second phase. But the Claymore makes short work of her. Next to the Salmonsnake. But first we deal with this Night Lurker on the way. The poor girl gets attacked. I guess the Night Lurker didn't want to attack anybody with armor. Give me your soul. And just because I'm going to eat the Night Lurker. Okay, now back to the Salmonsnake. Moo! I'm a cow. With the Salmonsnake, I prioritize targeting the eye since it will make him drop his accuracy on all his attacks. And then I focus damage on his head to finish the fight. Again, the little girl is who takes the hit. So now I have the stone crown, which will be useful later. If you're wearing the stone crown, the cave dwellers won't attack you once you pick up the cube of the depths. I open another blood portal for easy navigation. I dodge my way past these ghosts on the way back to the wolf mask ritual and the rope that leads to the cave dweller village. Since I'm here, I refill my hunger meter and increase my affinity with Gorgoroth. Yum yum yum! I put on the stone crown since picking up the cube of the depths will make the cave dweller villagers aggressive. With the cube in hand, I'm ready to start making my way to Mahabre. I open up another blood portal. And then open the ancient door leading to Mahabre. Through the tunnel, I take the path to the left, since I find it easier to avoid the ghouls here. Using the Claymore, I smash my way through every door in my way. And now I've finally arrived at the lost ancient underground city of Mahabre, the city of the gods. I loot everything, pick up some stones, and I make my way to the Tower of the Endless. On the way, I have the encounter with Jean as she's being dragged away by Lord of the Flies, but I'm not following her plotline or Buckman's, so I just let the Lord of the Flies do his thing. On the way to the tower, I'll also encounter some of these scarabs with their off-putting smile and face. Up ahead, Jean's body can be found, along with a lucky coin in front of some dog cages. Now I climb the stairs to the tower and open a blood portal and save the game. This is the only save point in the game where you can sleep without having to do the coin flip. Now onward to the Grand Library. But first, we'll have a few run-ins with the local monsters and Dave Ramsey. Fortunately, the skeletons can't be poisoned. I got lucky and passed the coin flip. And Meaty Boy saves the day after the marriage misses. On the way to the library, we will also run into Sir Sergo, where we can get a second set of the Gaunt armor to make one of my skeletons even more tanky. Since I don't think I can take out his torso in one turn, I prioritize his arms. Again, the poor girl takes the hits. Tis but a scratch. Also, it looks like the skeletons are attacking with your fist, but they actually are using their equipped weapons. I think it's just some graphical bug. You can tell because they're doing about 250 damage points a turn, which they couldn't do with their bare hands. Not surprising, but a heavily armored knight can take a lot of hits. So I collect the second set of the Gaunt armor. I'd gotten the first one using empty scrolls that I gave myself using a save editor at the very beginning of the game. So I swap out one skeleton's plate mail with the Gaunt armor and the other one's cloth hood with the Gaunt bassinet. Both get a nice little bump to defense. Now both of them have more than 100 points in defense. I fight a spider. I do not know what is the purpose of these monsters. They can poison you, but they can also die in one hit. So they kind of end up being more of a nuisance than anything else. The Harvestmen aren't too bad, as creepy as they are. Their torso can only tank about 700 points of damage. So again, I just focus all my damage there as much as I can, since I can't target the skeletons. They attack randomly. Though that's not going to be a problem against the God of Fear and Hunger, since she only has one part or one area you can target. Here, I'll find a wizard merchant that can sell me soul stones, which I need to upgrade the skeleton weapons to cursed weapons. Near the Grand Library, I use a Beacon of the Depths to change the time period back to the present, which allows me to open the blood portal at the library. I use this blood portal to quickly go back up to the surface and use the Hexen table to curse some of my weapons, including the Claymore, upgrading it to the Cursed Claymore. I also curse the Iron Mace, so now my main character and one skeleton will have cursed weapons. Using the Cursed Claymore puts my attack rating up to 75. Having upgraded my weapons, I return to the Grand Library to fight the Enlightened One, Valteil. Before fighting the Enlightened One, I'm going to loot the library. Since it has so many bookshelves here, you have a great chance of finding rare books or scrolls. The area is protected by these embryos, but with high enough DPS, they're not too bad of a threat. I continue looting the library. Once I'm done with that, I will proceed to solve the mannequin puzzle. It's the same solution every time, so once you know it, it's pretty easy just to remember it or look it up online. The first time you solve it by going to the present and seeing what stance the two missing mannequins are in. And the two missing ones are nearby here in the library. I cast Fast Attack on myself to get 2 actions per turn, and the girl uses a throwing dart to poison one of the 2 brains. so that I can start accumulating damage while I focus on the other one. Valteil uses his big guns on the little girl. When the Whispers of Grogoroth is cast on somebody, you have 5 turns to end the fight before that person or character gets killed. The cogs of fear and hunger have begun to rotate on a grander scale. And with that, we have the enlightened soul, so 1 down, 2 to go. Before going into the lab, we have to find where the crevice that leads to it is, so we start dropping these stones into the chasms found in present Mahabre. Alright, in this chasm, we can hear that the stone hits something, so we can jump down and enter the secret laboratory. We feed this machine some blood to make a human husk to trigger the fight with Chambara, the tormented soul. With the human husk ready, we go back up to the Tower of Torment and find a beacon of the depths to change the time period back to the past. On the way to the sacrificial chamber, we encounter one of the red men and their blood-curdling screams. I did get a stroke of luck and find a scroll of the Church of Healing, which gives me the Healing Whisper spell, which will heal everybody in the party when used. Human Husk is mounted up in the sacrificial chamber, which triggers the boss fight. With phase 1 of the Tormented One, I'll be focusing damage on his arms to stop his pummel attacks, and then focus on his torso. You can see the effect of having a cursed weapon on the skeleton, since his last attack just dealt over 800 damage points. I use my fancy new spell to heal the entire party. The grown man hits the child. Having finished phase 1, I finish up the sacrifice. And start phase 2 of the fight, the Silent Hill 4 portion. The Tormented One stops his attacks and retreats closer to the center of the pool. A terrible sensation fills you, as if something about to happen that should remain unknown to human eyes. So the tactic fighting the Tormented One is to hit the 2 outer rings to jam them. Once they are jammed, the center ring is vulnerable to attack. With both wheels jammed, I can now attack the Tormented One again. The Cursed Claymore really puts in the work here, delivering 2 subsequent attacks above 1000 damage points. With that, we have 2 of the 3 souls that we need to enter the Golden Palace. You feel as if a millennia of torment just slipped by you. Cogs of fear and hunger continue to turn. Okay, in this part, you'll see why in one of my earlier videos, I had thought that there was more than one white angel. I encounter him here, run away to the north, and then encounter him again. So that's why I thought there was more than one of them. If you kill the white angel, you can get the white angel soul, which is extremely useful since it can also give you the ability to have 2 actions per turn. But I already have fast attack, so I don't want to dedicate the accessory slot to that. The main danger with the white angel is that he has a coin flip attack that can kill you in 1 hit. Fortunately, you do have several turns before he attempts it. I return to the Tower of the Endless to trigger the flashback sequence and get the last soul that we need. First we see Cahara's section of the flashback. And then the encounter with Pocket Cat as he drags a child away into the darkness. Enki's crucifixion that leads him to explore the Dungeon of Fear and Hunger. And lastly, the flashback in Odengard after Legard's mercenary band attack Rag's village. Then we see Rag having the worst day of his life. followed by the Skin Granny. Fighting the Skin Granny, we have one free action while she transforms. So as usual, I use Fast Attack to have 2 attacks per turn. I target the middle arm because it can do a coin flip attack on me. We see Legard and Darcy's flashback sequence, which I'm gonna skip because it's already in like 3 of my other videos. And we get Nilvin's Soul, the last one that we need to enter the Golden Palace. Take her to the Heart of Darkness. What an odd request. So we revert back to the present and make our way to the Golden Palace to fight the nameless figurine. It's a very straightforward fight. The only thing of note is that he does have pretty high HP, so he takes a few hits before going down. After the fight, we can enter the Golden Palace and cut the last of the 3 purple organ bags. This will unlock the path into the Gauntlet and the endgame. But before the final confrontation in the Gauntlet, let's go grab a few more items and make sure we're prepared. Specifically, I'm going to get the Eastern Sword and the Miasma to increase the damage output of my skeletons. When picking up the Eastern Sword, I'll be attacked by a ghost, and if I'm able to take him out, the sword will be buffed and become its purified version. Fortunately, the Cursed Iron Mace and the Cursed Claymore are able to finish the fight in 2 turns. The Eastern Sword is now the Black Steel of the East, which increases the attack on one of my skeletons from 66 to 99. Next, I go grab the Miasma, which I just realized I should have done a lot earlier. Oh well. And with that, I am ready to attempt the God of Fear and Hunger, so I head to the God of the Depths to make my way down to the Gauntlet. Here in the Gauntlet, we'll face the last barrage of challenges before fighting the God of Fear and Hunger. First among them, the Moonless guards. I'll be using the same tactic as against the guards, except that he should be able to get one gaping mouth attack in, again targeting the child. And I'm going to eat the Moonless guard just because I can. I make my way through the other traps in the dungeon very carefully because I hate those blades. I'm going to use one of my last empty scrolls here to learn Blood Golem so I can summon one in the last fight. I continue through the last of the traps. I get really lucky here and I'm able to sneak by the double crow Mauler. And the last set of traps will be the farting statues. And with that, we've reached the bottom of the dungeon. Something is happening, something that exceeds your understanding. It's gonna be a long fight, so first thing I do is activate fast attack. The god of fear and hunger is born. I summon a blood golem to have extra help for this fight. Something is happening to the god. She seems to be in grooting pain and twitching from cold. God of fear and hunger has taken a new shape. Here, she delays a turn because of the gift of the dagger I gave her earlier in the game. And here we see the true shape of the god of fear and hunger. And here we lose Sweaty Boy. Sweaty Boy, may you rest in peace. Say hi to Moonless once you get to heaven. Why do you resist? The thought must have crossed your mind at some point. The thought that you delved too deep. The thought that this would be a one-way trip. So instead of fighting the inevitable, why not embrace it? Just lay down and rest. There is beauty in this darkness that can be harnessed and used to usher something new. You never escaped the dungeons. Your efforts would go unsung, but your part in a greater scheme of things was vital nevertheless. You had a vital part in the birth of a new god, one that is not a mere new god, but one that rivals the older ones. You had the first-hand experience of witnessing the coming paradigm shift the world is to go through in this new era. An era of the newborn god, the god of fear and hunger. They'll come to know this day as the cruel age, an age where a human-born god would finally rise after millennia of mankind's struggle as the feeble new gods. Maybe your fate was an act out of mercy, the last traces of compassion the newborn god shed after her true ascension. Your demise was peaceful after all. Ending A, the god of fear and hunger. And that finishes our monster run of Fear and Hunger 1, Monsters versus the God. I just wanted to say thank you very much for sticking it out and being with me this entire video. I hope you have a good time. If you have any gameplay questions, just go ahead and drop them in the comments. And if you have any feedback for me for what you'd like to see in future videos, just go ahead and give me a heads up. If you'd like to support my channel, please remember to comment, like, subscribe, share, and all that. And with that, take care, and I'll see you later. Peace.